Hey everybody, it's Mr. Movies87 here, bringing you something a little bit different today. If you guys follow me on Twitter at all, or in my Discord, or in any server that I'm in on Discord there, you would have most likely seen my recent ravings about my newest handheld I got here, the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. As you can see, I'm on the official website here for it. It's a handheld retro gaming system that I have been gushing about lately, and I felt it proper slash I felt like it would be a fun idea to make a little video about it here, talking about my experience with it so far. Before I go into like the meat of the video here, I do want to just go over like kind of what this video will be and what it won't be. It's not going to be like a full-on like formal review or anything like that. There's no script or anything like that. I'm pretty much just pulling things out of my ass like I usually do. Talking about what I've done with the thing there so far, what all it can do, what all it can't do, things of that nature. This isn't sponsored or anything like that. I just bought this thing with my own money there and all that with my own. Bought it for myself there with my own money, my own personal experience with the thing there so far, things of that nature. I will be showing off the specs here for it and all that. Because there's been people asking me about this here, like they wanted me to talk to them about that a little bit, kind of trying to sell them on the thing here and there. This isn't really my intention to have it be like a sales pitch or whatever, but if there's people out there that are into this sort of thing, if my video can help them, if they want to get this for themselves, I mean, I give it a glowing recommendation. But I mean, that's just me there, so I don't want this to be like a sales pitch or whatever. Hopefully, it won't come across as such. But I will be raving about this thing a lot because, spoilers, I love the thing. So to give a little bit of background on the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus here itself, this is a follow-up to the standard Retroid Pocket 3 that released, I think, semi-recently in 2022. Now, I do want to be clear on this because the company that made this did participate in some honestly kind of shitty business practice here. Now, it didn't affect me, but I think it's important to still mention this all the same. This company put out the RP3, the standard one, a little while back, and from what I've seen and read, they were already sitting on the RP3 Plus here and released it only a couple of months later after the original one. And people that bought the RP3 that were super hyped for it there and all that were already really, really pissed at the fact that they felt like their purchase was wasted on an already inferior product. I completely understand that frustration. I would be pissed too about that. On the other side, the company here, Retroid, did put out an upgrade kit there or whatever for people to upgrade their RP3s to the 3 Plus here for cheaper than what the RP3 Plus is here. Now, from what I've also seen, another channel, Retro Game Core on YouTube, has done videos on this thing extensively. I believe they've mentioned that the upgrade kit there is not an easy thing to actually do yourself if you're like not technologically, not privy, inclined, I guess I should say, for the lack of a better term. So yeah, like I said, I see why people would be pissed about that. Um, where trying to think of what was a good lead-in from that. It's just something to be mindful of there, of course. What's done is done, though. It does suck, obviously, but we can't change the past. So I mean, at the end of the day, it still sucks what they did, and I still feel for the people that got kind of scammed, for lack of a better term, in this here. But moving on to out of the negative stuff here to more positive stuff. I've been using this thing pretty much every damn day since I got the thing. I only got it on Friday of this past week. Yeah, and tomorrow when this goes up, it'll be Tuesday. And yeah, I've used the thing every single day, quite extensively at that. So to go into more of what this thing is, it is a retro handheld, like I said earlier, but it also comes built. It runs Android 11 on it there, so you can run the Google Play Store on that, which will allow you to download all sorts of emulators there for all the games you want to play on. It does also come with its own built-in storage. There's some stats on the screen right here, and I'll show off all the pictures here as well. There's a little bit of a gallery that shows off more of its specs there. I won't go into too much detail about that because a lot of those things I don't know what they are exactly. But I'll still go over what I do know and, go from there. So the Unisoc T618 is, I believe, the chipset that this RP3 Plus runs, which is a huge upgrade over the previous model there. 4 gig storage for part of it, but also a 128 internal storage. It also comes with a micro SD card slot that I've been using as well. I have a 128 gig one I bought, just a Samsung model. They're like 20 bucks online or whatever. Excuse me. So that goes along with the 128 gigs of internal storage. So that takes care of any ROMs, emulators that you want to have. The battery is 4500 mAh. I've heard what that stands for before, but I can't recall what it actually stands for right now. It's an upgrade over the previous 4,000 from the RP3 standard? I think there's a comparison down here as well. So yeah, it charges super quickly. It comes with a it comes with the USB-C charging cable. It does need some kind of block. I believe it doesn't come with one itself there. So like something you'd use to charge an iPhone with something like that, for example, is needed there as well. I'm pretty sure. That's just what I use with mine. I had my old is my actual block from my old iPod Shuffle from like 1,000 years ago, but it works perfectly. Yeah, the thing charges incredibly quickly. Also has an obscenely long battery life here too. You could leave it in sleep mode for like probably 2 weeks straight, and it wouldn't kill the battery like fully at all. I've been really impressed with that so far. Also comes in a bunch of new colors here. I think there were 5 previous available ones, but now there's 3 new ones here. You might be able to see the text there. It's a little bit small, I know, but I'll show more in large pictures here in a sec. Yeah, clear blue, clear purple, and 16-bit. I just got a standard black one here. The other retro handheld I had before is an Ambernick, the RG351P, I believe that model was called. I got that one in black as well. I just felt that was the coolest one in my opinion. So as of right now, the RP3 Plus is $149. I think the RP3 Standard was 109. I want to say somewhere in that ballpark. Shipping, these do ship from China, by the way. So there's international shipping there. The company was on I think some delays with due to COVID recently. That caused a shipping delay and all that there, just as in recently as a month ago, I believe. But I think they are now good to go. They're getting these sent out a lot more quickly here now, as far as I'm aware anyway. And I'll show off the delivery dashboard thing there too up top. I'll get to that here later on. So it'll of course vary if you do order one of these, how long it'll take to get to you. In my personal experience here, I ordered it on what was that? January 2nd of 2023, and it arrived on the 13th of January, which was way faster than I was expecting. Less than 2 weeks to come out from all the way from China. I was very happy with that. I think it was $15 for shipping, so put that at $164 overall. And for my money, I found the thing to be incredibly worth the price there and then some. What this thing can do is kind of mind-blowing, actually. And I've barely scratched the surface on that. I'll get into more about that stuff here later on as well. Like I said, I'm doing a very informal review. Lots of air quotes there on this thing. But that's just how I roll. So yeah, let's go ahead and go into the add-ons here as well. It's nice that they include these here as well, actually. Tempered glass screen protector, the carrying case, micro HDMI, 2 HDMI adapter cable, which is cool that this thing does have HDMI out. With the thing being as small as it is, it has to be micro HDMI. So you could plug this thing into an HDMI cable or however that works there exactly. I don't use HDMI out myself. I don't have the micro HDMI cable anyway. It'd be cool to have, but like I don't know how often I'd really use it though, to be honest. So it's kind of a luxury thing there, really. But it's cool that it's there. The micro SD cards here, and the SD readers to add games and stuff to the RP3 Plus here. You'll need to put in the micro SD card into the reader, and then that into your computer. And then it'll pull up the I think it's the G and the F drives on your computer or laptop or whatever you're using. and it'll have all the folders there as well for all the ROMs there, all the emulators, I should say, for the systems that it covers. And there's a lot of them that this thing can handle. Some better than others, yes, but we'll get to that later. Now, as far as like getting ROMs and emulators go, I can't talk about that obviously, um, so I'll just leave it at that. There's videos out there how to do that sort of thing there too. So yeah, we'll just leave it there. So yeah, so that's all there to get you all set up. Let's go ahead and go into more of the specs here themselves on the thing. With the more enlarged pictures here. Hopefully you guys can see that. Although I'm going to zoom in here as well. I'm not sure how to look on YouTube because it's rare that I do like, excuse me, desktop videos like this or browser videos on YouTube. So hopefully this will be okay. So yeah, comparison here between the RP3 standard and the RP3 Plus. Yeah, this thing has a way better chipset behind it, more GPU and RAM, all that good stuff there. I don't know what these like actually mean here, like all of that. That's a lot of technical jargon for somebody like me, but end of the day, the RP3 Plus is way more powerful than the RP3 standard, just to put it very bluntly. As far as storage space here goes, yeah, RP3 Plus, yeah, the LPDDR4X and the eMMC, those are like the internal storage there, I believe. So yeah, way more out of it for the RP3 Plus and the RP3. Now, it'll sound like too I'm flacking on the RP3 a lot, but really from what I've seen, the RP3 is still a really damn good handheld, honestly. So you can't go wrong with either way. If you have the money to spend, then yeah, I would say go for the RP3 Plus. But if you're on a tighter budget, the RP3 is still really solid as well. I just want to be clear on that here as well. Let's see. Moving on to the next one here. Yeah, here's more on the battery specs here. So you have 4,000 mAh from the RP3 to 4,500. So I think that means, yeah, just the battery in general. So again, better performance here with the RP3 Plus. Here's real quick showing off the micro HDMI. Yeah, that goes, the micro HDMI plug goes into the RP3 Plus, which then goes into the adapter, which then goes into your monitor or TV to let you have HDMI out there as needed. But yeah, I don't use that myself. That could be handy though, of course. I know people out there will like that. The other thing people will like here is that this thing is capable of cloud streaming. With the Moonlight program here for PC games. This thing works with Steam Link. It works, I think there's a PS4, PS5 app for this as well. And also works with the Microsoft Game Pass as well for Xbox and PC stuff there. If I remember, I'll put a link in the description here for Retro Game Core's test tutorial and all this stuff here. It goes into way more in depth than mine will here. Now, also, not to detract from my own video here, obviously, but this guy's been on YouTube for a while. He's been covering these sorts of handhelds way more than I have. So do credit where it is due, obviously. So I will direct you guys over to his channel. I've been watching his videos quite a bit as of late. They are very thorough, in-depth. That means the same thing, but whatever. Very informative also means the same thing, but you get the idea. Let's see here. So yeah, here's more of the color options here to show them off. Yeah, retro, indigo, 16-bit, orange, black. That's the one I got here. Kind of hard to show off there. Another 16-bit one there. Clear purple and clear blue. Now those ones are super cool in particular. You guys may recall in the early 2000s when the clear Game Boy Colors and N64s were a thing. That's a throwback to those, which I really like. The retros here, the 16-bit are more so akin to the SNES controllers or NES controllers, that color scheme there too. So that's a nice little throwback there. Here's some specs on the size here and all that. This thing feels very comfortable in your hands. Actually, I would have shown mine off physically here, but I would have had to use my iPhone camera to do so. And that would have been really shaky and not really good quality there. So I would have loved to have done that, trust me, but I'm not able to with my setup, unfortunately. But I will say, though, I'm holding mine in my hands literally as we speak right now. This thing is very light, but still very well made. It is very thin as well. Really sleek. It has, can't really see it. Well, you kind of can on here. It has L1 and L2 and R1 and R2 buttons there on the top left, top right. Dual analog sticks. Obviously, D-pad buttons there, A, B, X, Y. It's a little bit weird. The start and select buttons are actually on the top of the on the top of the RP3 Plus here. On the opposite side of the power button. That's on the top left. That's next to the L1 and L2 buttons there. It's a little weird to get used to. It was for me at first, but I've already had the thing for a few days, and it feels natural to me now, honestly. You got volume buttons there on the left and the right. Nice click in, so they're very sturdily made, so you won't like to accidentally press them or anything as you're gaming on the thing there. So here's what all comes with the RP3 Plus here. Yeah, that's the bottom left has the USB charging cable. It already comes with, I believe that was the in the little plastic sleeve bag there, a micro SD adapter there and all that. It's a little user manual, the console itself, and a really cool box there as well. It's like a fold over sort of thing there, kind of like magnetically latched, closed. It was actually really, really nifty. Then yeah, here's better looks. I'll zoom out here now at this point since we don't need the actual pictures here anymore. Let's go back to 100%. So yeah, this will be a little bit more of an in-depth look at the color schemes here for all 8 models here. And of course, yeah, button layouts are all the same, obviously. Yeah, this is the one I have, the black model here. It just looks sleek and cool. I just really like that one overall. Though I was also tempted to get the 16-bit US one here as well. Indigo kind of reminds me of a Switch, actually. This thing really is like a Switch, even like a lighter Switch Lite, honestly. So yeah, that's the Indigo one. There's the other retro one here, kind of like a clear, like white gray there. Very nice, like bright orange on that one. And then yeah, clear purple reminds me of that, like I said, the old Game Boy colors there from way back when. And finally, the clear blue. Not that I really see much blue here, but it's there. It's there. So let's go ahead and move into the delivery dashboard here. Excuse me. So yeah, now they're celebrating the Chinese New Year. The company is based out in China, by the way. So shipping might be a little bit rough for now. I know I said earlier that they are being sent out more quickly here, but I also didn't realize till just recently that their New Year did just start here. So if you do order one like right now, let's say, it will be a little bit longer of a delivery time here, I'm assuming, for them to be sent out here. You can see here as well, though, our pre-order phase will be concluding on the 14th. That was just a couple of days ago. So yeah, that is kind of a small window there. But yeah, so they are closed here for now. Email response is delayed. You can see the stuff right there, of course. So yeah, so now is not a good time to order these if you want one like more immediately. But even still, it's only 2 weeks out to the 30th. So, I mean, 2 weeks is not long of a wait time, honestly. Orders on February 1st, you'll have within like 2 weeks or so, probably, if you're in the United States there, of course. So yeah, this is going into more detail here. So like, if you order these in this little window here, when they'd be sent out, it's cool how they have that here. Actually, I do appreciate that. But yeah, here's some more special requirements here if you're not in the U.S. and live elsewhere. For shipping, obviously being sent out there, it's a little more complicated, takes longer, and all that there. But yeah, assuming you live in the U.S., and I'll use that for my example here. It'll be about a 2-week wait time, roughly. Now, it could be longer, it could be shorter. My case was 11 days from when I ordered it to when it arrived, so it could be around the same ballpark there as well. I just want to be super clear on that here as well. So moving on then, let's go ahead and just pull up just some random picture there. I'll just go with this one here. Now, it doesn't really go into much detail about it. Okay, there's more specs down here. But yeah, there's the OS, the operating system, the Android 11. I don't know if that's like the newest Android OS. I've been Team iPhone for a very long while. Although I did have an Android tablet for a while, a few years back. I don't recall what OS that had on it though. So yeah, I don't know if if OS Android 11 here is the newest one. But if you have Android devices prior, then you'll feel right at home with this thing. Now, this thing has been incredibly easy to use so far. It already comes preloaded with a lot of stuff on it there already, or it can be. Whenever you're doing the device setup for it, it'll ask you um, to pre-download. Excuse me. Blah, 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 sorry, getting excited at tongue-tied. You know how it is. It'll ask you if you want to pre-install or pre-download a handful of emulators right out the bat. Like there's a Dolphin for handheld emulator. That's a GameCube and Wii emulator. There's a PS2 emulator on there. Even has Citra on there, which for those who don't know, that's a 3DS emulator. Now, those ones being more high-end, the RP3 Plus does struggle a bit to run those games well. It can do some of them, yes, but it's kind of more of a luxury sort of thing that didn't do that to begin with. Um, but yeah, for things like Super Nintendo, Dreamcast, Game Gear, Genesis, Game Boy, any of the Game Boy library there, say the Dreamcast, even arcade games, actually, this thing can run with ease. Because yeah, it comes with all the emulators and stuff you need there on that. Anything else there you'd want, or on the Google Play Store to download there as well. And again, the tutorial, well, the guide, I should say as well. Well, they're the same thing, guide tutorial. The link I'll have in my description for the Retro Game Core tutorial will have a lot of recommendations for best apps to use there and all that. Some that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store just fine, or the ones that can be downloaded like online there or whatever. Some of them also do need to be paid for a better experience. Like the PSP emulator, it's only $5 for the PPSSPP Gold. That's the one I have myself. I love the PSP. Excuse me, I love handheld games in general. So I felt it was only, yeah, like I said, only $5 to get that. So I felt it was totally worth it there. Especially if you love PSP games like I do. Let me get some water here real quick. I've been rambling a bunch so far. Yeah, that's better. There's also a few varieties of the Dolphin emulator on available as well. The one I have is Dolphin for handheld, which from what I've seen seems to be has the best balance of like performance and compatibility for GameCube games there and the like. I actually haven't tried it out much yet. I need to get some ROMs for that. Apparently as well, for things like that, or the PS2 emulator, it's Aether SX2, I believe it's called. Excuse me, sorry. It's apparently better to have the ROMs be from the PAL region, actually, because those run at a native 50 hertz there, I believe, whereas the NTSC ones, or North American ones, run at 60. So it's just easier for the RP3 Plus to run the ones at 50 hertz rather than 60. Because I tried Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix and Wild Arms 3. I wasn't really able to get those to run terribly well. Wild Arms 3 was a little bit better overall. I didn't really do much tinkering with them. There's a lot of in-depth stuff you can do with that sort of thing, like bumping down the resolution to like a less than 1x value, which is its native value. Lots of like different settings there like that. But from what I've heard as well, you can probably expect like at least 25% of those games to run on this thing, like the GameCube, Wii, PS2, things like that. And I'll go into more of trying that myself in the future. But yeah, it's almost a luxury that this thing can do that anyway. What I've been using more so actually is the Nintendo DS emulation. There's an emulator called Drastic it has on here, which I'd never even heard of before prior to getting this thing here. It's incredibly easy to use. Already has built-in cheat engines, so you don't need to dig around and find codes or whatever if you want to use that sort of thing there. Lets you have save states, lets you have fast forward enabled actually, which for a handheld to have fast forward on it is incredibly handy. Just yeah, super sleek, super easy to use. Now for all like the retro stuff there, like the Super Nintendo, things like that, I use what's called Retro Arc. It's essentially an all-in-one emulator, essentially, where you load what's called cores, which are the various emulators for all the older games there, and there'll be a whole list available as well that you can download from. So like Super Nintendo, you'll have like SNES, 9X, a bunch of different years and whatever. It looks complicated, yes, when you're actually going through it. but it's really not that hard, especially having a guide handy. I had one handy the entire time, didn't mind set up, and it was very very worthwhile to do. It took some time, obviously, but I wanted to take things slow to make sure I had it set up properly there to the way I liked and all that. Now, a retro game tour will go into way more detail about this as well. You don't have to do all that if you want to. Like they go into changing the entire front end there to something else entirely. If you want to go that route, by all means. But for me, I like it simple, so basic layout as is totally fine with me there. But yeah, I've been using this thing a lot for DS emulation there, like I said earlier. Playing a lot of Pokemon Heart Gold and Chrono Trigger. I love those games to death, so those were easy gets there. And the PSP, I have Final Fantasy 1 and 2, Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions, and Lunar Silver Star Harmony just for right now. I still have like 75% of my space available on just my micro SD card. I still have like almost the entirety of my internal storage available to download more stuff onto here as well, which that should be more than plenty for me. If you wanted to, you could go more than 128 gig for a micro SD, like 256 or like 512 or even a terabyte if you wanted to. That's overkill for me, like 512 or a terabyte. Even the like 128 will be more than enough for me. Um, what else there? Anything actually retro like PS1, PSP, Super Nintendo. This thing will run effortlessly there with fast forward, all the good stuff there. Yeah, I've been using mine every single day, multiple hours a day. I barely burn through the battery at all. Most times at night, I actually won't even charge the thing overnight because it doesn't need to be charged. I'll just put it into sleep mode for the night, and it'll be just fine. I could play it all day tomorrow, and it'd still be fine. Let it go sleep mode overnight then, and then the next day, maybe I would need to charge it. If not, I still will let it go for another day. So yeah, so handheld like this, battery life is incredibly good. I can't really say much that I don't like with it so far. Like I'm very simple when it comes to things like this. I don't need it to be like super fancy and whatever. Like I just love retro games. I love handhelds, and having something like this for me could not be more perfect. Like this thing feels comfortable in my hands. My hands are never sore even after like extended hours of playing or whatever. It's so easy to use. It was really easy to set up there as well with a guide, obviously. So I was super happy with the shipping and all that there. The price point I find was very, very well worth it there. The accessories here, while they would be handy, yes, for me, I don't really need any of these. I already have multiple SD cards as is, plus SD card reader, so I'm fine there. Um, so yeah, at the end of the day, if you like retro games, if you like handhelds as well, this thing is for you. You can't go wrong with the RP3 standard or the RP3 plus. I love this thing to death. I will be raving about it more on Twitter and Discord in the coming days, and months, I'm sure. Now, it is entirely possible that the company here will put out an RP4 sometime eventually. I don't know when, but when that does, if it ends up being very very soon, I might be a little more pissed. But if it's like summer or later, I'm fine with that. Because I won't need to upgrade right away. Like if I want to, I could, but it won't be a need unless it's like if it's a huge upgrade over the 3 plus, then I might be chomping at the bit to do so more immediately. If not, then I would be just fine waiting until like Christmas of this year or even my birthday next year. This thing was a birthday present I got for myself. Um, Although, well, it was for me, yes, but my dad sent me some birthday money there. And I just paid the rest myself here for it to cover it. 'Cause I wanted it sooner. Wanted to arrive by my birthday, which it did a few days before. So yeah, this thing does and lots of things incredibly well. Things like yeah, GameCube, Wii, PS2 does need more tinkering there. A lot of the games won't unfortunately work. That is a kind of a mark against the thing here. But this thing isn't solely meant to be like a full-on PS2 emulator or anything like that, because PS2 is super, super hard to emulate there. If you do want something like that, Something like the AYN Odin, or the Pro model, that would be better, or even the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck, by the way, is incredible for emulation, even more so than the RP3 Plus. But the Steam Deck also costs like 3 times as much as the RP3 Plus here. So if you have the bank to get a Steam Deck, then by all means get a Steam Deck. I want to eventually as well, because I would love to have that sort of thing for portable stuff there. I'm a whore for that sort of thing there. Let's be real. But yeah, for my money, the RP3 Plus is an easy 10 out of 10 recommendation for me, and from me as well. I really can't go wrong there. That's really all I wanted to. Wow, this is a half-hour video here. Wasn't sure how long a video this would be. But yeah, I just wanted to gush about this thing more, and I'm glad I was able to here. With that, guys, that'll be all for me. If you happen to get one of these by chance, actually, sometime in the future, let me know, and let me know how you like it there. If I can be of any help setting things up there as well, let me know. I'll be happy to assist. More than likely, though, I will just have the Retro Game Core tutorial handy to reference there. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool. Please read that as well. It'll help you out way, way more than my video here. Again, this was just to be a more informal sort of thing here, just to gush about the thing. Retro Game Core has video tutorials on this as well, with like setup guides there and first looks and all that sort of thing there. So highly, highly recommend checking their stuff out there as well. Oh, with that, guys, this has been Mr. Movies87 signing off. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.